Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that hits close to home, a tale of trust, secrets, and heartbreak that unfolds in the quiet moments we least expect. Have you ever felt that sinking feeling when you realize the person you love might be hiding something? Well, buckle up because this one's raw, real, and painfully relatable. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dive stories like this. Now, let's get into it. The bedroom door slammed with a sudden sharp crack that shattered the stillness of our modest apartment like a gunshot. "You're not my father, Mark. Stop interrogating me about where I go," Claire's voice hissed, dripping with bitter venom, hanging heavily in the air as she stormed past me. I stood frozen in the living room, replaying the image of her purse swinging wildly from her shoulder as she vanished into the night. The faint trace of her jasmine perfume lingered stubbornly on the couch cushions, almost mocking me. Where was she headed at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday? Why did her eyes avoid mine when I asked? A tightening ache spread through my chest, cold and unyielding, like ink dissolving into water. I forced myself to dismiss it as just a fight, a moment of anger, her needing space, nothing more. But the silence after her exit wasn't empty. It was alive, heavy with secrets unwilling to be revealed. Our apartment, once a sanctuary filled with laughter and dreams woven together, now felt like a strange stage where a play was unfolding, one I had no script for. The dim glow from the floor lamp cast long, restless shadows over the hardwood floors, stretching toward the framed photo perched on the mantel. There they were, Claire's arms wrapped warmly around me during last summer's beach trip, her smile bright and free, unburdened. I stepped closer and brushed my fingers against the glass, catching a faint smudge on her side of the frame, as if she'd touched it recently. Why? My mind raced back through recent weeks. Her rushed mornings, the way her phone was angled away from my view now, the new passcode she'd set after years of leaving it unlocked. Small details, I reasoned. Harmless. But standing alone in the half-lit room, those tiny things felt like pebbles tumbling toward an avalanche. I sank onto the couch, its springs groaning under my weight, and tried to piece together the puzzle. Claire had been distant lately, yes, but always fiercely independent. "I need to breathe, Mark," she'd say softly whenever I questioned her late nights at work or her sudden weekend plans with friends I'd never met. I'd nod, swallowing my unease because I loved her, because I trusted her, because doubting her felt like betraying the woman who had cried in my arms when her mother passed, who'd laughed until tears streamed down her face when I burnt our first Thanksgiving dinner. But tonight those words, "You're not my father," cut deeper than they should have. Not mere defiance, but a wall built to shut me out completely. The clock ticked relentlessly toward 11 p.m., each second hammering my skull. I reached for my phone, tempted to text her but stopped short. What could I say? "Come home. Where are you?" Instead, I opened the shared calendar we had set up to organize our hectic lives. Her schedule was blank for tonight, just like last Thursday when she'd arrived home at midnight, hair slightly mussed, lips stained with wine she claimed came from a night out with friends. I scrolled back further. More empty evenings, gaps in the timeline that hadn't existed a year ago. My thumb hovered over her contact photo, a candid snapshot of Claire laughing at a street festival, eyes crinkled with pure joy. I didn't recognize that woman anymore. My breathing felt loud, uneven, echoing around the room. I stood and paced, sock soles scraping against the rug. My gaze landed on the kitchen counter. Her coffee mug sat there, lipstick smudged on the rim with a delicate pink shade she hadn't worn in months. I picked it up, the cold ceramic sending a shiver down my spine. Why was it here, unwashed, when she'd become so meticulous lately? I set it down too hard, the clink ringing sharply. Her coat rack by the door caught my eye next. The red scarf I'd bought her for Christmas was missing. She hadn't worn it out tonight. Or had she? The details slipped through my fingers, dissolving into a fog of doubt. I don't know what pushed me to do it, the ache in my chest or the silence screaming louder than my thoughts, but I grabbed her laptop from the coffee table. She'd left it open, the screen dark but unlocked, a rare slip for someone who'd grown so guarded. My hands trembled as I tapped the trackpad, the screen flickering to life. Her email inbox was open, a message pinned at the top marked as read. The sender was only initials, JM, and the subject line was blank. My heart thudded painfully as I clicked it open. The words blurred for a moment, then settled like a cold wave. Meet me at the usual spot. 9:30, can't wait to see you. No signature. No explanation. Just those words, casual, intimate, a secret whispered between lovers. My breath caught, a sharp gasp burning in my throat. I scrolled down, finding more emails from JM, each short but laced with familiarity that made my skin crawl. Missed you last night. Wear that dress I like. You're killing me with that smile. My vision narrowed, the room shrinking to the pale glow of the screen. I wanted to believe it was a friend, a misunderstanding. But the timestamps matched her late nights, her unexplained absences. My fingers moved almost by themselves, opening her browser history. Hotel booking confirmations. A dinner reservation for two. Searches on how to keep things discreet. Each click was a knife twisting deeper inside me. I shut the laptop, my hands shaking so violently I nearly dropped it. The apartment felt suffocating now, the walls closing in like a cage. I grabbed my keys, desperate for air, for movement, but froze at the door. Where could I even find her to confront this? I had no idea where she was. Then my phone buzzed sharply in my pocket. I yanked it out, heart pounding, hoping, praying it was her. Instead, it was a notification from our bank app. And $85 charge at a bar downtown, a place I'd never heard of. The timestamp. 10:45 p.m. She was there right now with someone else. I drove through the rain-slicked streets, neon signs blurring into streaks of color through the windshield. The bar was wedged between a pawn shop and a laundromat, its flickering sign barely visible through the drizzle. I parked across the street, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Through the steamed window, I saw her, Claire, my Claire, sitting at a corner table, her red scarf draped casually over the chair back. She laughed, head tilted toward a man I didn't know. His hand rested possessively on hers, fingers intertwined with casual intent. The sight hit me like a blow to the stomach, stealing my breath. She leaned in, lips brushing his ear, and I saw it, the smile she once reserved for me now lighting his face. I didn't go inside. Couldn't. My body felt like lead, sinking deep into the seat, into the ground, into nothingness. The rain tapped against the roof, a steady, mournful rhythm that matched the ache in my chest. I thought again of her words, "You're not my father." And I realized they weren't just deflection, they were confession. She'd built a life I wasn't part of, a world where I was the outsider. The drive home was a blur. My mind replayed every ignored warning, every lie swallowed. When I stepped inside, her scarf lay on the couch as if she'd never left. But the apartment was empty. And so was I. The next morning the key turned in the lock. She stepped in, eyes tired but guarded, and froze when she saw me sitting there, the laptop still open on the table. "Mark," she began softly, almost pleading, but I didn't let her finish. I held up a printed copy of the email from JM, watching her face crumble, not with guilt but with relief. "I didn't know how to tell you," she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I love him." Those words were a blade, sharp, final, severing 5 years of us in a single breath. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, now a stranger, and wondered how I missed the moment she stopped being mine. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you or reminded you of someone you know, please like and share it. And if you want to hear more stories of love, betrayal, and everything in between, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Sometimes the hardest truths come from the people we trust the most. Take care of yourselves out there, and I'll see you in the next video.